Hey everybody, my name is Doug. Thank you so much for joining me in lesson 8 of my beginner guitar lesson series. I hope you have the free ebook and you've been following along with this. It's been a lot of fun to do. Today, the dreaded theory lesson, but it's not going to be that painful. But sometimes it's really important to know the notes that you're playing. So up until this point, we really haven't talked about learning the notes, and I have all kinds of other information about that if you want to look in my other videos or join me on Patreon for that. But for this series, I'm going to stick in the first position here, which is the first 3 frets. So we've learned up to this point E, B, G, D, A, E, the natural notes. And if you can tune that way, you know what you're playing. A lot of times, though, you're going to have to pick out melodies and things in the first position. And it's to communicate with other musicians and just be a little more proficient with what you're doing, it's good to know the notes. So let's follow along in the ebook here. Lesson 8, we have E. We learned that one. Now, first fret would be F. Third fret's G. The next one we have A, B, C. And that's open 2nd fret, 3rd fret. And then the 4th string we have D, E, F. 2nd fret, 3rd fret. Then the 3rd string we have open G, and then 2nd fret A. The next string is the 2nd string, and we have B, C, D. And then the high string is E, F, G again. So we have open 1, 3, open 2, 3, open 2, 3, open 2. Open 1, 3, open 1, 3. Now that doesn't quite sound like a scale because we're not finished yet, but those are all the natural notes, meaning the white keys on the piano, no sharps or flats, in the first position. So it would be really, really helpful and important and impressive if you knew how to say G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. You know what those notes are. It's really important because if you're playing a chord and you forget the name of the note, well, typically the lowest note in the chord is the name of the chord. So if you're playing that note, that's a G note, you're playing a G chord. There's all kinds of uses for this. In that position, however, we're going to learn the actual C scale. So you would start on C, and this would be measure 10 if you're following along. And you would play up the scale like this: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And you go backwards: C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And incidentally, if you're a singer, you can use this to practice. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So there's a lot of uses for this, That's your first scale, your C major scale, and it kind of fits right in that C chord right there. Okay, so now you've got a scale, and then you say, well, where do the chords come from? If I've got a scale, how do I make chords? Well, guess what? Each note in the scale, you can build a chord from it by using that note, which let's just say C, the first one. Skip the 2nd note, which would be D, but play the 3rd note. Skip the 4th note, which would be F, play the 5th note. So we would have C, E, and G, and if I put those notes together, creates a chord which we call C. Then if I start on the D note and I play D, skip a note, play an F, skip a note, play an A, that creates what's called D minor. If I go to the 3rd note in the scale and it's E, and this is all written out for you in tabs in the ebook here. We have E, skip the next note, which is F, play G, skip the next note, which is A, and play B, and so forth. F, skip a note, A, skip a note, C. Now we have F chord. Now G, skip a note, play a B, skip a note, play a D, creates a G chord. And now if I start on A, skip a note, play a C, skip a note, play an E, it's A minor. And then I do it with B, and that's got a funny name, B minor 7 flat 5, we'll talk about that. And then back to C. So those are the 3 notes that would create a chord. That's called the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. So any note in the scale, if you play the root, which is the name of that note, which is the note you're on, you play the 3rd note in the scale above that, and the 3rd and the 5th note above that, not the 2nd or the 4th. that will create the chords. And you can do that with every note in the scale. And this creates the chord qualities, or the chords within the scale. And when you do that, you can play them as chords in that position. And we've learned most of these. And it would sound like this. Here's your scale. Let's play the scale as chords. Right? It sounds exactly like the scale, but I've harmonized each note with the third and the fifth above it. Then I just made it guitaristic, meaning the guitar, we double some strings. You know, there's a C, there's a C, there's an E, there's an E. So we can play it, you know, a little bit more, like on a piano, you would just have white key, skip, white key, skip, white key, and then you could just freeze your fingers and go bung, bung, up, up, just like that. And you're only playing 3 at a time. We're not gonna do that on guitar because we don't have to. We can play multiple strings. It sounds really nice. So the only one that you probably haven't learned yet is what we call B minor 7 flat 5, and it occurs at the 7th note of the scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and it's got a lot of tension, and a lot of people like to call this diminished. It's actually a half diminished chord, but again, you don't have to worry about the theory aspect of it. Sometimes it's called minor 7 flat 5. That's what I like to call it. Anyway, it's a B and a D and an F. So there's the B, there's the F, and then we stick an A on there. And again, we'll talk about that in the future. But so B, D, F, and then we stick an A on there. And, you know, it's kind of a nice tension chord, and it resolves to the C. That'll be in future lessons. But it's good to know, you know, because it fulfills the scale. Okay, so a little bit about theory. Hopefully that wasn't too deep, but I'm really into knowing what I'm playing and knowing the notes. I think it's very helpful. So we have 2 more. You can join me next week in lesson 9. We're going to learn 1-4-5 progression, more chords, and then we're going to learn some more songs in lesson 10. Thank you so much. I hope you downloaded the ebook and you like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Patreon. Go to my Fingers on the Frets website, all that stuff. It's really helpful, and I appreciate it a lot. I'll see you next week.